This is a DMB Society podcast.
I got a sister named Jane.
And this is the pod that Jane likes.
Hi, welcome back to the pod that Jane likes. We're here, we're back. I'm your host, Jeanette, and this is episode 114. If you listened to our last episode, you got to catch up a little bit with me and Matt, but I'm so happy to tell you that all four of us are here today, so let's welcome them back. Hi, Trisha and Sean.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Hey, guys.
Hi. Hello.
Matt and I are so glad you're back. How's it going? Did you miss us?
Of course we missed you.
So much. I kept listening. I just kept listening to you guys in that last episode.
I bet you did.
It was a familiar
You
feeling.
missed our voices.
Yeah, we kept getting
that. It started
we
again.
kept getting comments on the episode, and it was just Sean over and over again changing up the username, being like, "This is the best pod I've ever listened to. You guys really are like
Oh my God.
amazing." He was just really fanboying out like the whole time.
I mean, frankly, we missed you, but I think we're all missing a lot lately.
We really
Concerts,
are.
shows, Dave,
Yeah.
all of
yeah.
that.
And we're going to get into all of that. We missed you guys too. So let's just get right into it. Let's talk about what's been going on and what we like to call the opener. Okay, so we know the off season can be a bit depressing. It's quiet, it's cold, and we miss the band. But as promised, we are here to sulk with you. As we all know by now, our band is not touring this fall. Boo. Which is actually the first fall they are not touring since 2020. They have not done some sort of small fall tour since they came back from the pandemic in 2021. So this is the first fall that we find ourselves with nothing to do.
Not one thing.
Not one thing. So
Literally.
let's go around the room real quick. Like, what are you guys going to do this fall to pass the time? Trisha.
What am I going to do this fall? I honestly have been trying to look for other music.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody's really on tour. So I was just trying to find like little bands. Like I really want to see Krugman.
Mm-hmm.
They're cool. They're going to be playing in New York. Tickets are $500. So I'm like, maybe not.
Oof.
But yeah, I mean, since the last show at the Gorge, there was Farm Aid. Certainly, I saw Goose show. I saw 2 Mount Joy shows, and then it was baseball season. There was a lot of playoff baseball, but now that has ended literally
Right.
just recently. And I guess maybe just getting, I literally don't have an answer. The holidays.
Fair.
That's the answer.
It's fair.
I'm just so flustered by the fact that there's no
I am.
music. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, I am too. I get it. Matt, what are you going to do?
oh geez, what am I gonna do? Well, I've been out seeing some music whenever I can. I saw Pigeons playing ping pong for the first time. They were pretty cool.
Fun.
I saw Everclear. Jeanette and I went to see O'Teal and Friends. And my life is really consumed by the 3 hours that the New England Patriots play every week at this point. And so, everything just like it's all leading up to that every week. And then it's like I come down and then you're geared back up. So that's where I've been.
What about you, Sean?
So I am, this time of year is so depressing for a number of reasons for me. I despise the winter, so that's not ideal. And DMB doesn't have a fall tour and baseball season's ending. So, you got to find ways. I'll share a fun story. So I love baseball, and long before there was, like the MLB app that you could watch games on demand. When I was much younger, I used to I would randomly record baseball games, completely random games in the middle of the summer on VHS tapes. And then I would just put them on at my parents' house in the winter to just have it on in the background and make me feel alive. So, all of that to say, I'll count down every day until baseball season's back, or until Dave and Tim make their way to Mexico. We're at the time of this recording, we're under 80 days until Dave and Tim take the stage in Mexico. So I think it's okay until you get past the holiday season, right? Like you could look forward to Thanksgiving and then the holidays around New Year's and all of that's great. It's like those couple weeks right after New Year's that I think are the really rough ones.
Yes, so
Mm.
true. But I love that you have a countdown to Dave and Tim. That's super helpful.
And he's
True.
a countdown to baseball too. I'm
I'm
sure.
I could
sure. I'm
on
sure.
any given day from here on out, I could tell you how many days until Dave and Tim Mexico and how many days until opening day. I just update this in my head.
Well, what's
Every
really
morning.
cool about this winter, not that I mean I also despise the winter, but uh, if we get through the NFL season and the Super Bowl ends, the Winter Olympics are happening right after that.
That's
And then
Oh,
after
right.
the Winter Olympics happen, we have the World Baseball Classic, which is going to happen
Yes.
before the season, which I'm really stoked about. So it's it'll hopefully help to shorten those like January through March, which are just
Yeah, brutal.
tough.
Brutal. Yeah. These are bad.
How about you, Jeanette?
I got nothing, guys. I got nothing. I'm being a mom, I'm like
Sure.
dropping kids off at dance and soccer, and just got Goosemas coming in
Mhm.
December, and that's really about it. And then just hunkering down until till it gets light out again, because I can't with the
Ugh.
dark. I can't with I can't. We
Yeah, the
literally
time
just
change is
celebrated
brutal.
daylight
Yes.
savings. It's brutal. I don't
Really
understand it. I don't
Did we
know why
save
we
it?
still do it. Apparently we did. I think there's way more things to save in this country besides daylight, but
Mm.
whatever.
Well, as
Speaking
you can
of,
see,
yeah. Speaking, is this what you were gonna say, Trisha? Speaking of, it seems like our friend David J. Matthews is taking walks this fall. That's what he's been occupying his time with.
Yes.
And I don't know if you guys are following along on the band's Instagram account, but Dave has taken to going on walks and making these little videos, and giving his thoughts on the state of the country and the state of the world and the importance of voting. And I have lovingly coined this series as Walks with David. And I have to say, I really enjoyed seeing his face in the off season, as well as his messages that he's communicating. And I think it's wonderful he's using his platform to speak out against what is going on currently in this country. Do you guys have any opinion on this or have any thoughts?
I love to hear from Dave whenever possible, and I think that when you hear from him most, it's at a show, and you are in the midst of enjoying this music and enjoying the people that you're with and all of that. But when you boil it all down, one of the things that I always think is just incredible is Dave just has such an amazing way of articulating himself.
Yes.
And the way that he speaks and everything is just so thoughtful. And I don't necessarily even think that like he's rehearsed what he's going to say when he does these things. It just flows right out of him in the
Mhm.
same way that when he's doing an improv on any given song and he's performing, like I think it's the same part of his brain that it's like just flowing out of. And he just has a beautiful way of articulating things and telling stories. And I've always said that I think he could easily have a second career as like a storyteller or a public speaker or a comedian. Like any of those things would suit him so well. And so I think that this Walks with David series suits him very well. And it's, as I said, it's great to hear from him. And I just love the way that he speaks throughout these.
yeah. Yeah, I think that to your point, Jeanette, we all miss the band and miss him, and it's nice to see his face.
Yes.
And I hope that he continues and understands that like we actually all kind of need it in a
Mhm.
way. Like, if you think about during the pandemic when we were all shut down, brought drive-ins, he talked to us then, and like now there's no fall tour. I'm hoping he's thinking the same thing, like that he's gonna just talk and share his thoughts. And I think his voice is super important. I think it gets the comments section a little riled up and the fan base a little riled up, but it is what it is. And I think he's obviously very unapologetic of his thoughts and feelings right now. And yeah, it's just always nice to hear from him. It's inspiring. I always like to picture him like walking down the street holding his phone, talking into it. Like, I don't know. There's something like
Totally. I'm like, it's very like dad. Like, oh, he's got his phone like
Yeah.
down here underneath his chin. Like
No,
it's
but I
not,
like
not
thought
a good
about
angle at all. Like
Right.
he's just like
But if I was across the street watching him do this, I think that would be like really fun
Yeah.
to
So
see.
cute.
Well, people have been. The first one that he did, he
Yeah.
walked by and was like, "Hey, y'all."
Yeah, right.
It's so funny.
He has always had this way of taking things that are super complicated and sometimes really hot button issues. I think, we could have conversations if some of these things should even be super hot button issues, but he's always had this really impressive way of taking things that are really complicated and kind of boiling it down into a way that I think just makes so much sense and is so easily digestible and I think resonates with a lot of people, despite what you may see from a couple of keyboard warriors that jump into the comment
Right.
section. But I think he's always had this ability to do it. He has it in his writing sometimes when he's writing songs, and he has the ability when he's speaking his mind too, of kind of really putting things into putting a human touch on things and leaving the audience in a way that I think it sticks with you. It really resonates and you kind of find yourself carrying those thoughts with you for the rest of your day.
Totally. I think you guys both said it like the way he articulates it. It's almost like it's hard to argue with him because he says it so beautifully and so like as a matter of fact and so humanly that it's like, oh, I wish I had that when, I'm arguing with Uncle Joe or whatever at Thanksgiving about politics. You wish you had what he has, how he's able to articulate things to make everybody understand. And I mean, hopefully the other side understand a little bit better too. And it's not in an argumentative way. It's in a very like we're all human type of way.
Yeah. And he doesn't care to make you uncomfortable. He showed up at the No
Right.
Kings parade with a huge I am Antifa sign.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
He's not
Tells you how it is.
right. He just tells you how it is pretty simply, unapologetic. That's what we love about him.
Yeah. So Dave, keep speaking out. We love to see your face on social media. It's not something that we've really gotten a lot throughout the years. So I love that he's kind of like taking control of the platform and using it. And using it to provide such a great message. And keep walking during the fall. Keep putting those videos out. Well, during this break, we promised we would be here to talk all things DMB. One of the requests that we always get when we ask people for, what kind of topics you want us to talk about is Q&A. You guys love to ask us questions and see where we're at. And so we like to get stumped. We like to kind of go around the room and answer things. So once again, we have compiled a bunch of listener questions and we're going to try to answer them and spark up some conversations. And yeah, let's do it. You guys ready?
We're
Let's
ready.
do it.
Let's
Yeah.
jam about it.
Okay.
First question. Who's starting? Trisha?
I am. Okay.
Okay.
This one comes from J Lynn J814. Do you prioritize going to night 2 over night 1 shows?
Okay, this is
And
interesting.
Yeah. This is I think this is a really fun question because I
Yes.
think this is one that over the years has changed a lot, at least for me.
Exactly. Yes.
I think there was a period of time where probably universally people could all agree that if it's a 2-night stand, you're going to night 2. And I don't even really know if it was up for debate in the sense that when you were looking to get your hands on tickets, night 2 at the bigger venues was always the much more difficult night. I don't think that that's the case anymore. And I don't know if it's a mindset change within the band itself. I don't know if it plays directly into the fact that for the big venues, or most of the big venues, night 1 tends to be a Sirius XM Friday Night Concert Series broadcast, and they're using that platform to get out different shows. But I think that the answer for many, many years was always an easy night 2. And I absolutely think that over time, the last few years, that's kind of changed. I think some of the Guilford is, I guess that's not a weekend show, but that's one that jumps out at me as kind of consistently having night 1 being the better show. Now, there have been really good Guilford night 2 shows, but a lot of venues, it seems like night 1 has kind of taken over for what night 2 used to be.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I if you would have asked me this question a decade, 15 years ago, I would have said night 2, hands down, no question. But now, I mean, they really make a formula for a night 2 stand. It's really not about, picking one. I mean, and if you have to pick one, you have to pick one. But I don't think there's a one over the other anymore. I think it's a matter of what night can you go, because
Right.
they really when Dave's writing his set list, I think he's really thinking about both nights now. Like think about Guilford this year, where he opened with Lionel Graves and then did the
that's a
reprise
good
and the
point.
encore for night 2. It's like that was clearly thought about as a whole two set
Right.
set list, not just one night. So I really think it's not as cut and dry as it used to be.
I also think one thing that may go into that is, and Lord knows if you can even find it on the Warehouse website anymore, but it used to be that if you, or the way that seating was done for any given stand, let's say it's a 2-night stand, the Warehouse would typically do one of those nights, the seats would be given out by seniority. So if you joined in 2000
Such a
versus
great point.
2010, the 2000 member for one of those shows would get better seats than the 2010 member. And I think that that's gone away.
Yeah, I do too, unfortunately.
It's really hard to tell because there's so many different factors that weigh in now at this point. Like there's sometimes you can select like, this is my priority show and this is, whatever. But I do think that had something to do with it originally, where, maybe they knew that there were more regulars, diehards, whatever you wanted to call it, fan club members closer to the stage for a night 2 versus a night 1. And I think that may have played into it back 10 or 15 years ago.
Yeah, and I think that the where we're at in the history of the band, I know we've talked about it on here before, and a lot of people have talked about the fact that in a day and age when so many bands are releasing everything, DMB isn't in that boat, right? It's really all we're getting over the course of a year is what's happening on SiriusXM on Friday nights. The last couple of years, the band has started to slowly develop this relationship with Volta, and there have been a couple of webcasted shows, which is great. But I'll say selfishly, if there is going to be one night that ends up being the bigger night, I'm glad that it's now taking place on a Friday, because the following day we have that in circulation where, instead of having to rely on a taper pull, which is great, and basically what most of us have done our entire DMB careers, we now have, something a little bit closer to something professionally recorded. But it is interesting the way that this has shifted over the course of time, especially when you talk about what some of the huge weekends have looked like over the years. Night 2 at these really huge venues. SPAC is the one that kind of jumps out at me. If you look at this past year at SPAC, a number of tour debuts night 1. Night 2 was solid, but didn't have that same wow factor, right? And I feel like that's just kind of been a microcosm for what the last couple of years have been in terms of writing set lists for 2-night stands.
Mm-hmm. I don't have anything to add, because from where I was living over the last, I don't know, decade or more, if I was going to go to a 2-night stand, it required travel. So I would always go to both shows.
Right. Makes sense.
And I remember there was only 2 times that I only went to one show of the 1-night stand. And it's because night 1 was so freaking good that the FOMO was too much. I had to go to night 2. So in some ways, that happened.
Yeah, you go to night 1 so that you can convince whoever it is that you couldn't go to night 2, you could go to night 2. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because then it's so good. Then you're like, see, we have to come tomorrow night.
Oh,
right.
Right. Mine is like I missed it and was listening to an XM.
Oh, you're saying
that's what I mean.
I see what you mean. Okay, I got it.
So night 1 was so good that I
from
and I
afar.
wasn't
You're
there
like
from
from
afar.
afar that you showed up at night
Right.
too. So you're like, I
Exactly.
should have came to
Sorry
night
if
one.
that was not clear. Exactly.
No, I totally get it now.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. All right, Sean, I think you have a question for us.
So the next question here comes to us from Ross A. Davis, and Ross asks, "Do you think that DMB could still do a ballpark tour?"
I'd say 100% yes. 100%.
Nice.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't. They're still selling. There's certain venues that are still getting 2-night stands. They're still selling out. I don't know why they wouldn't be able to do a ballpark tour. I still think they can get away with 2-night stands at in a ballpark tour. That's just my opinion.
I was going to say, I think that they certainly could do it, and I think that it would have to be curated in a perfect way. And if it was just a ballpark tour where they were playing just ballparks and not playing, so for example, let's use the tri-state area, instead of playing Jones Beach and PNC, playing Citi Field
Mm-hmm.
or
Fair.
similar.
Yeah.
And then I think they could really get away with it. And I also think, like they used to do for the ballpark tours, I think that they would probably bring in an opener that would also sell some tickets.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if they did it that way, we're talking, let's say like Fenway, Citi Field, Wrigley, what's the Pittsburgh stadium called? I'm blanking
PNC.
on it. PNC.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they did something like that, I don't think that they would have any issue, and it would be awesome, and I would welcome it with open arms because I love me some baseball stadium concerts.
Let me push back a little bit.
Yeah, please do.
So these ballparks are like what? Capacity 37,000, 41,000. Okay, so that's in the seats, not on the field.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the band probably brings in what, 18,000 on the most on a big night?
I mean, Alpine seats 40,000. It really depends on the venue. It really does.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah,
thinking like a whole tour of Alpines. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah,
I'm not saying they wouldn't sell it out, but like, isn't a ballpark tour the seats and the field? So then you would
Yes.
think that there are
You think it's
more than that, like
probably about
50,000?
40, 50,000. Yeah, 60,000.
So are we like attracting 40, 50,000? I don't.
Yeah, I think so.
don't know.
Depending on the area. Like Matt said, I think like if you do the tri-state area, if you do a ballpark here, if you do one in Pittsburgh, if you do one in
Sure.
Chicago, if you do maybe Philly, I think you're absolutely it really depends on geography in this one, I think.
Then why do you think they haven't yet or haven't? And
I think honestly, in my opinion, I think there's a level of the performance, the sound is not great in a stadium. I think it kind of diminishes their amphitheater. They're an amphitheater band. They always have been. I know that they've done stadiums before, but this is like their home base is amphitheaters.
Yeah.
So I think that it's just a shoe. It's just a a shoe in. Like they're gonna win no matter what if they just keep doing amphitheaters. So I think it's special occasion for them to do ballparks. So I think it would be cool, but I think it would be a shortened tour, and I think they wouldn't be able to stop it at as many. Like Matt said, you wouldn't be able to do Jones Beach and PNC, and Camden. You'd have to
Right.
kind of, and I think for them they'd rather do more shows than less.
When was the last time they played a stadium like that? Is it like 2010? Or is it like going back to Wrigley that far, or has there been anything since then? I don't remember.
Yeah,
I mean, they did PNC in between in Pittsburgh.
So they did. 2010 does jump out because
Yeah.
of Citi Field and that
Yep.
Citi Field release. They
And
also
Wrigley.
did 2010.
And Wrigley.
They also did PNC in Pittsburgh,
Mhm.
Wrigley as well. So during 2010 they definitely sprinkled in a bunch, but what we're talking about is very different than say the early 2000s, 2000,
Oh, yeah.
2001, in and around those
Oh,
areas
right.
were
Those were
exclusively stadiums almost.
And those were football
And a lot of
stadiums.
football stadiums.
Yeah.
A lot of football stadiums. So very different. I think the question is it's a good one. And I think so much of the answer has to do with when you think of a stadium tour or playing ballparks, what does that look like? If you're sprinkling them in, especially in places where the band has such rabid fan bases like the Northeast, I think that does work. adding in, a dozen or so football stadiums, I think that's a little bit of a different story. But yeah, I mean, I do think that it could work. I think, especially considering that it hasn't been done for so long, I think that those shows gain interest and in some ways have a lot of anticipation if they were to
They
announce
get
them. I know
special
that this
treatment.
is
Yeah.
they do, and I know that this was a much smaller overall capacity, but I think back to a couple of years ago when DMB announced that they were going to play Forest Hills, totally out of nowhere, something completely different than what they've done before. And I think if they were to incorporate ballparks again, Busch Stadium in St. Louis, another one that comes to mind because of Live Tracks 13. If you were to sprinkle these in here and there, I think that they end up being pretty desirable shows to attend just because it's been so long since DMB has done anything like that.
True. All right, Matt, you got a question for us?
Alrighty. So I was I was reading this question a couple times, and I think there's a few different ways we can go with it. But the question was to take us through. This comes from KSKUTISH, and it is the logistics of the pit. And I think that there's two ways we can go with it. We can go, well, if you have a pit ticket, what does that mean? How do you get access to the pit? Like when you physically go into the venue, like what does that mean? We can talk about that. But then I also think it's probably what's the etiquette in the pit, and what kind of people will you encounter in the pit? And that is a whole different can of worms, which we can also talk about. So I guess I can start it off with like how you actually get in there, and then we can have the conversation about the rest of it. So when you go into a venue and you have a pit ticket, typically you have to find the place where they are giving out the wristbands. And sometimes that's on the way into the pit, and other times it's separate. And so what you have to do is you have to get your ticket scanned another time after you get into the venue. They give you a pit bracelet, and then you can basically come and go as you please from the pit. If you need to go to the bathroom or get food or drink, you can always come back in, and the rest of it is a little bit of a different story. So I'll kick it over to Jeanette. She can talk a little bit about that.
I was actually going to kick it over to Trisha.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, all right.
I was like, my face started to get red because I was like,
well, let's our resident pit, person.
Well, I was like, oh, Matt, is that how you experience the pit? Because I think, I think the question might be also like, how does someone get up in the first 3 rows of the pit? So you do need a warehouse pit ticket typically in order to do that. So first, if you're a warehouse member, you're going to request pit. And the day of the show, you will get an email from warehouse with a lottery saying that you got accepted into the lottery or not. And then you'll get a number if you were. If you do get a number, you'll go 2 hours before doors to get your wristband and check in. And then everybody starts lining up in sequential order of your number. And so a lot of it is lottery, like lottery. Now it's lottery. There are people who, if they did not get a warehouse pit, will start lining up at like 11 a.m. So if you have a regular pit ticket and you're trying to get close, you're going to need to spend all day in line is the short of it. Or you could do what Matt does and casually walk in.
Casually walk in at 7:30, and guess what? You're closer than 90% of the people who are in the venue.
You're absolutely right. Nobody's arguing with you.
Right. If you are trying to get in those first couple of rows, what your night looks like essentially is you're going to want to go get your spot, make friends around you before you leave to go get a drink or go to the bathroom. You almost have to establish yourself. That is a little bit of the pit culture, not just with Dave Matthews Band, but Dead and Company, any Goose. I mean, any band really. If you're trying to get in those first 3 to 4 rows, you're going to need to establish your spot, make friends with people before you can go in and out. And most of the time it means not really drinking so that you don't have to leave to go to the bathroom because getting back in is stressful.
But I think it's also really important. I think we should. I think it would actually be a great addition to this question is each going around and giving a tip if you're going to be in the pit as to what to do. But one of the things I was going to say is, in the middle of the summer, let's say it's a July show. In the middle of the summer, you get into that pit, and in a lot of cases, it is 20 degrees warmer than anywhere else in the venue.
Mhm.
And it's so important to make sure you're drinking water, make sure you're watching out for your friends, making sure they're drinking water. I mean, the amount of people who go down in these pits is crazy because of
Mhm.
dehydration and like being partied out from any number of other different substances. Like it is crazy.
Yeah.
And that just the heat also just makes people agitated and like
Mhm.
I would say my tip would be make sure you're drinking water and make sure you have enough air. Think about like, okay, I want to be close, but like if I'm going to be super close, it means that there's going to be people all around me,
Mhm.
and like in some cases, like not forcing to be close to you, but like they're going to be really close to you because
Yep.
Yeah.
everybody's trying to get
They're
as
going to be
close.
bumping into you. They're going to be, and sometimes it's not their fault. Sometimes somebody bumped into them, so they bumped into you. So you just have to be okay with that kind of, behavior and physical touch.
Mhm.
I also think it's important to say that not all pits are created equal. They're all different.
Good call.
You're not gonna, stand online for one pit and it's gonna be the same experience that you have in another pit. There's pits that are way larger than other pits. For example, the Gorge is a huge pit.
Mhm.
Huge. It's deep. It's wide. You can really get in there and stand wherever. But then there's the Woodlands, which has this tiny pit, and you can walk in at 7:30 and still be fifth row back. So I mean, you really have to do your research on the actual venue itself. Find someone who's been to that specific pit before and ask questions.
Mhm. We're here. We've probably been
Or
in that
here,
pit.
we've probably been in that
Ask
pit.
us.
Yeah, it's true. Very
Yeah.
true.
I'll add that one thing that I don't know that enough people realize unless you consume shows in the pit regularly is that sometimes, depending upon the venue and depending upon how close you are, the sound can change drastically and not for
Mhm.
the better.
Mhm.
And I'm not
Good
saying
point.
this is the case in every venue, but I do think that it is something to take into consideration before you spend your entire day waiting in line versus tailgating and hanging out and having fun with friends. There are a number of venues that the closer you get, the
Mhm.
sound really diminishes, and usually what that means more specifically is you end up getting overloaded with one or two different instruments,
Mhm.
and it comes at the cost of not being able to hear the other instruments that are on the stage. So sometimes you could end up getting nothing but Carter and Tim, and you can spend the entire night not really hearing anything that's happening between Rashawn and Jeff, just as an example. So it's definitely something to consider. Not every single venue suffers from that same thing, but it is pretty common that the
Yep.
closer you get to the stage, the sound quality falls off, and sometimes it falls off substantially.
Yeah. And actually,
Yeah.
to piggyback on that and what you said, Jeanette, about how not every pit is equal. Some pits, the stage is very high, and the closer you get, you actually
Yeah, good
can't
point.
see Carter.
see.
You can't
Yeah, you're right.
see.
Right.
Most of the time, Carter is the one that you can't see. So that's just
Right.
another tip. If I had one tip for everybody, though, I'd say if you're going up that close in the pit, you have to wear ear protection.
Good call.
Good call. Good tip.
Okay, I know you
Yeah.
don't. 'Cause I can't hear now because I didn't, and now I can't live
I
without
know
it. So
I'm a culprit of that. I really need to start protecting my ears. But I
yeah,
will say this for the ladies, you might not hear Rashawn and Jeff, but you might get straight up eye contact with Dave Matthews. So just,
right,
It just
just a
depends
tip.
on what you're,
Just a tip.
yeah, and
right. That's a tip.
yeah. And there are definitely everybody, even the four of us, right? Like we very
Have made
much
eye
have our own
contact with Dave Matthews?
preferences.
Yes.
Well, we all kind of consume shows differently, right?
Right,
Like
We do.
I think,
Great. What are you there for?
yeah, what are you there for? And the
Well,
good news is, I do think if you have a pit ticket, you can kind of choose your own experience,
Absolutely.
right? If you're casually strolling in and you're in the middle to the back of the pit, now you're not putting in the same amount of work, but you're oftentimes getting better sound. You're actually getting to take in the lights if the lights are something that you're
Very
interested
true.
in. When you're in those first couple of rows, you could be completely oblivious that it's happening at all because you're really too close for any of it.
You're
So
staring
I
right at
think
Dave. You're too close.
Yeah,
I think it just depends on what
Mhm.
you're after when you're lining up to get into a pit, or when you open your email from the warehouse and it says you've been awarded a pit ticket. Everybody's going to have a different mindset with what they want.
Very true.
And I prefer row 3 to 6, but when we go, Matt's not all about that. So I usually sacrifice, and we go in about row 10. I would say that's the
Yeah, but
happy medium.
we have a great afternoon and early evening, Trisha,
We
whenever
This
do.
is
Right.
true.
we're
We
going
do.
Right.
We do.
This
and
is true.
we just saunter
We just
in,
a
and
mosey
there
on
we
in.
are, you know? And
We
yeah,
have a good time.
I just wanted to publicly make known the sacrifices I make, you know?
Oh.
well,
Okay.
let me if we're going down this road, let me tell a quick story, which
Tell
I
a
think I've
story.
told on here before, which was when I first met Trisha back in 2012, I believe it was. I think the first show that we went to together, where we weren't actually sitting together, but we saw each other at, was, I think it was Hartford in 2013 or something. And I asked Trisha, where are your tickets? And she said, oh, I think we have lawn, or we're like back in the pavilion. She's like, where are you? I'm like, I've got pit. She's like, oh, pit. Oh, someday maybe I'll be lucky enough to see
Someday.
a show from the pit from that close.
Oh,
Oh, can you even imagine? She was just
Like
like,
sweet
I could just
little
see like
Trisha.
sweet little Trisha, like just the
The
light
hearts
bulbs are
around
going off. Yeah,
around
like
her
the hard
head.
eyes are just going all over the place. And now
oh man.
look at the monster that I've created.
Yeah. What happened to sweet little Trisha? I'll tell you, my preferences have changed, because I will say that doing the pit that close all the time is extremely exhausting, and you
Oh,
need a lot of
yeah.
capacity, and you have to know there's going to be a lot of anxiety. And I just got sick of it. So my ideal is like
Strolling at
one.
7:15.
Well, I think I'm starting to like a seat, and I think I would like up to 10 rows behind pit is really nice.
It
You get
is. You're
everything.
right.
Oh
The
yeah,
sound.
right by the soundboard is
Yeah.
Yes.
the ideal
Yeah.
seat. But the
There,
problem is
there's
it's so hard to get, like, if you're
the
going with a
hardest to
group,
get.
it's so hard
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
Right.
get all the tickets together. That's always the bummer.
There is a reason why the soundboard is located where it is.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
Like there's a reason why that setup isn't on the side of the stage or any closer. In general, I know there are exceptions, but in general, if you are looking at a seating chart for a venue, if you can get close to the soundboard, it does tend to be an experience where you're getting the best sound, an experience where you're getting kind of the full capacity of the light show. You're
Yep.
getting all of those things. Again, not to be a broken record, it just depends on what your
What year there.
priorities are.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. I'm going to do a quick one. This one comes from Millsy 2599. If you had to pick one Away from the World song to make it back, what would it be? And I think I know Matt and Sean's answer, so they should go
Oh.
first. Go ahead. One is.
What if I'm going to take Snow Outside.
Right.
I think there's two songs that I've been dying for. Maybe Matt will take the other one, but I'll take Snow Outside.
Broken Things, hands down.
That's the one.
Oh,
was
that's not. I
mine.
thought you were both going to say Snow Outside.
Yeah. Broken Things,
Wow.
I think the line, how could we know our lives would be filled with such beautifully broken things, is like, I think that's like one of the best
Mm-hmm.
later, like post Big Three Dave
Mhm.
Matthews lyric. That is I used the word criminal to describe another song.
Mm-hmm.
Criminally underplayed. I'm going to say that lyric is criminally underrated as a Dave Matthews lyric.
And Trisha, that was
Sold.
yours too?
That's mine. Yep. Absolutely. Hands down.
My favorite song on Away from the World is Rooftop, and that never went away. So I'm going to say the riff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Fair.
The first
Another
time,
good one.
yeah, I was at the night they debuted that, which was in Camden, and and no one had heard it yet. And I remember being like, oh, this sounds like a Dave Matthews Band song when I first heard it. I just think it's a great tune. So that's what I would go with.
We're I feel like year in and year out, for as long as we've been doing this podcast, we just are dying for more Away from the World, right?
Yeah.
Like there's just so much on this album that gets criminally underplayed. One thing I do want to just mention before we go past it is Drunken Soldier, which I love. I think a lot of people love Drunken Soldier. And I think because it's on Away from the World, it's easy to kind of think that it gets caught up in the fact that that record really does not get much play at all. It's the least played record, full band record. However, Drunken Soldier is an interesting one because since COVID, from 2022 on, every year Drunken Soldier has gotten more plays. So I kind of hope that trend continues. I hope the Drunken Soldier kind of stays in any kind of rotation. I hope it continues to increase with its performances. And I hope in doing so, it brings more of this very underrated record along with it.
Okay. Sean, I think you have a question for us.
Yes, I do. So this next one comes from Flames the Man, who asks, what do you think the band has planned to celebrate their 35th anniversary? And do you think they will do anything for the 30th anniversary of DMB at the Gorge? So kind of a two-part question. Jeanette, you want to take our first stab at that one, and we'll go around the room?
I don't really know about the 35th anniversary. I feel like when the band finally announces their tour, there'll be a cool logo and, we'll get cool merch.
Buddy will
But
update the sticker that's on his.
I was going to just say it.
Yeah,
You stole my thought.
I mean, hopefully it's not the same that was 25 and then 30. Like it was just the same. They just changed the number. Hopefully that's not it. Hopefully there's something new and we get some cool merch to, commemorate the fact that they've been around for 35 years. There are some rumors out there, but I don't really know what's going to happen. And I'm really excited to get some sort of announcement. Typically we get tour announcements towards the beginning of the year. So we've got a little bit of ways for that, but I don't know. Maybe there's something in the spring that we can look forward to. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I was just thinking 35 wasn't a significant number. I don't know. I mean, it is. It's just round.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. It's not like the 25th,
Right. And we got a shirt for that, right? That's a 25. So maybe we'll get.
And we got a celebration concert for that. We did get like a full, and we got the box set. Let's talk about box sets. We can't go on episode without bringing up any sort of box set. So.
Hey, you didn't even bring. I mean, Sean and I didn't even.
I know. I brought it up.
You're the one who brought it up.
Are you proud of me?
We could jump right into it if you guys want.
Yeah,
let's
get right into it. So, DMB.
That is going to be.
Great.
That's good. There's going to be a remastered episode about that Trisha and I will not be on.
No,
we'll listen. But
I guess I was just thinking they don't celebrate anything, in my opinion. But then because they brought back, sorry, I misspoke. Because they played before these crowded streets night 2, part of me feels like, oh, maybe they know that these things matter to us. So, like in general, like start doing something, different. So I don't know.
It's hard to envision something being more taking place on a grander scale than what the Gorge was this year. You would think that if they are going to go all out, that it would commemorate something, right? Whereas this didn't necessarily commemorate anything, but it's just really hard to envision. I mean, here we are, 34 years in, and we never have had a night like what Gorge Night 2 was.
Right.
So I think it's going to be very hard to, I think for good or for bad, no matter what happens here on out, no matter how many more times DMB plays to the Gorge, all of the comparisons are going to go back to Gorge 2025 because of what Night 2 was. So do I hope that they find a way to top what they did this past year? I sure do. I don't know if there were DraftKings prop bets for that I'd be placing bets that they could top it. But I digress.
Well, I did want to share. There is a tiny bit of news out that hit not too long ago, which is that there is a book that's coming out in March, which is called Dave Matthews Band 35th Anniversary Celebration. This listing hit Amazon. There's not a ton of information, but we do have an author, which is Suzette Hackney, who writes for the Indie Star. And this book says it has over 50 photos. It's got exclusive interviews and stories from band members, crew, and devoted fans. Trace the evolution of the band from their beginnings in Charlottesville, Virginia, to the rise of fame with groundbreaking albums like Under the Table, blah, blah, blah. So there is something coming we don't have a ton of information on it. We just have this Amazon listing, but at least that somebody's paying attention that it's the 35th anniversary, and so I think that'll be a cool thing. It's been a while. I don't know if this is a band project or if this is a fan project. We had a couple of books in the past that were written. I mean, geez, these are like, I don't even know how old these are. Probably like 20 years now. That came out that featured fan stories and experiences from DMB. Jeanette, I believe you were featured in one of those books.
I was.
Next time I see you, I'm gonna have to bring it so that you can sign it for me. But
anything for you.
but yeah, this is cool that there's at least this in the works. Maybe alongside a logo, and I just hope it's not like an excuse to up ticket prices or anything else like that. The 35th anniversary. That was where my mind went at the beginning. But I think somebody's paying attention to something, and so that's good news in my eyes.
That's a start. That's a start. Or at least someone tell them there's an anniversary. I mean, I would have a follow-up question. If you can name one thing you'd want for an anniversary to celebrate, what would it be? And I guess the answer is box set.
A box set.
How about an announcement that we're getting a tour that's going to be broadcasted on Nugs?
Oh, yeah, right.
I would like a tour where Bella Fleck and the Flecktones open.
Oh,
the whole tour.
Very interesting.
Interesting. I would enjoy a tour if they were going to do. We previously thought that this was off the table, but if they said that they were going to do albums cover to cover, would you travel? Would you prioritize certain albums over others? I think certainly that would be
that's interesting.
That would be really interesting.
Yeah.
There's also currently an awful lot of logs on the fire for the idea that DMB could potentially, who knows, maybe have a violin player in 2026. Not necessarily saying that that's happening, but saying that it's
you're not
this
wrong.
feels like we are currently the closest to that potentially being a thing that we have been in many, many, many years.
Did you hear that on the pod that Jane likes, Sean?
Pod that Jane likes. Yeah, there was a couple episodes back. They had on, who was it? Who did Pod the Chain Likes have?
Who did they have on?
It was this was after the box set discussion episode. So
oh my god,
I think it was Jake Rennick Simpson, if I remember.
That's right.
Correctly.
There was.
That's right.
Yes. Okay. All right. Cool. Just wanted.
I actually have. I included that in my rotation. I've been listening to the episode with both Matt and Jeanette, pretty much exclusively.
Right.
But I'll sneak in the episode with Jake.
Speaking of that episode of with me and Jeanette, speaking of the episode of with me and Matt, we talked about this a little bit. There is a rumor that the Dave Matthews Band is doing the Sphere, so that could also be a 35th anniversary. I don't know.
Right.
I'm not really wedded to those rumors. I don't really know how much weight they have, but that's also a possibility.
Update since we last recorded that episode, Jeanette. There have been more announcements.
Absolutely,
Sphere, and now
closing up the calendar for DMB to show up.
Basically, the calendar is booked for the Sphere from January through August. So if DMB is indeed going to play the Sphere, it would be no earlier than fall of 2026.
Yeah. So. All right, let's move on. Matt, do you have a question to read us?
I sure do. This comes in from, I believe it's David LaRue, who's one of our
OG fan, OG listener.
Fan, yes. And he writes, what's each of your, quote, out-of-the-box musical pleasures? We know the main. What's the odd?
I love this question.
It's a question. Sean, you want to go first?
I am all over the place. I think if I had to pick an artist, probably my most out of the box would probably be Jimmy Buffett. I've listened to an awful lot of Jimmy Buffett over the course of.
Is that out of this box?
I don't know. I mean, for
out of my box.
I mean, you're right. Sure, out of my box too. But like, is that really that different than Dave Matthews Band?
I am. That's fair. I think beyond I'll expand upon it.
Okay, yes. Give us another example.
Whether it is something closer to the world that we live in more of the jam band scene, to hip hop and jazz music, to house music. I have an awful lot of acts that I really enjoy following, whether it's from a distance or up close and personal. So I feel like my Spotify lists are just all across the creation. So it depends on the day for me.
Fair. I have a alter ego that nobody knows about, that I used to follow around a bunch of DJs, and I love house music. There in the early 2000s, late 90s, on the weekends you would find me at a club in Atlantic City or New York or Philadelphia, and I would be there till close, or not, or just stay, because in Atlantic City clubs don't close. So house music is one of my first loves, and I still, follow. I mean, I don't go necessarily clubbing anymore. I am, a mom of a certain age. But I do really enjoy house music.
I feel like I'm hitting that part of my life now, Jeanette, and where I like kind of like to go out and listen to different cool
Yeah.
DJs spinning. I don't know. I think
No, I
it's,
still enjoy it, but
yeah.
I was doing it every weekend. So
Yeah.
know.
Well, I've never done that in my life, and now I feel like I really enjoy that. And I think it's because I could barely speak about another band besides Goose, but Goose is actually a little bit out of the box for me, because I'm not
Sure.
like into Fish at all, and that's what people think Goose is like, and I don't like Fish. Oh, sorry, don't send me hate mail, but Fish is not for me. So Goose would be out of the box, but Goose, they have certain parts of songs that go into like where you
Sure.
feel like you're at a rave.
A rave, yeah.
And
I've
I feel
experienced
like,
this.
yes, right? Like we felt like we were at a rave at a
Yeah.
show. And then I feel like I've been liking that kind of music, however you would
Fair.
categorize it.
Mhm.
So my out of the box would be that kind of music. What would you say? Is it house? Is it EDM? Is it, I don't know.
It house, EDM, tribal, could be any one of those
Right.
things. Yeah.
All of that I think is my
Mhm.
out of the box genre that I'm really into lately.
All right, I'm so curious what Matt's answer is.
Jimmy Buffett.
Well, yes, Jimmy Buffett. No, I mean my huge guilty pleasure for now, we're going on over 10 years, has been country music. I love country music. I will fully admit it. And about like I would say
We
like
know.
2012, 2013, I got so into it. I always say that Zac Brown Band was my gateway drug into country music, and I think it was like at the same time that I was learning that like I really love sitting on the beach and hanging out with my friends, because that's what like so many country songs are about, is doing just that thing.
Right.
And I was like, wow, like people are actually writing songs about this. And it was also at the same time that like I didn't even know where to go on the radio to hear anybody play a guitar anymore. Like
That's fair.
all like the pop music was going in a certain direction, and so I started like a lot of it's crazy. I've seen like a lot of country shows, and it's wild because they'll have like the main country guy or girl is singing the song, and then the entire backing band look like they came from like a Sum 41 cover band. They're all like tatted up
Oh.
with like mohawks or like crazy hair and stuff, and they're like rocking out to these songs that are like, just four chords and telling stories. But yeah, I love country music. And it's got to be of a certain kind of country music, like what I was just talking about, sort of like that like beach country kind of thing. But that's like, especially like summertime, that's all I listen to.
It's funny. I thought it would be funny if we both went around and all guessed what Matt's would be, because your musical taste is so vast, actually. I mean, Sean's is too, but Matt has like different personalities. Like there's Summer Matt, right? Then there's like Dead and Co Matt.
That's right. Fun and funky Matt.
Yep.
But then there's like
there's New Orleans Matt.
That's
Or
right.
like Smash Mouth Matt. Is that a
Yes, that's
person?
right. Yes, like late 90s, early
Late 90s.
2000s.
Yeah.
I did
We
just
need
go see
uh,
Everclear. Yeah,
Yeah.
we need
Yeah.
a published list of when Matt did his top 40 records when he turned 40.
Oh
We
yeah.
need
Yep,
to,
that's
that
right.
needs to be published somewhere.
That I mean that
That's a
will
good
tell
idea.
you that'll tell you
Yeah.
everything
Sure.
you need
Yeah.
to know right there.
Yeah. All right. I got one. What do you think drives Dave creatively in this phase of his life?
Yeah, this has evolved a lot, right?
Yeah,
Like
agreed.
you could sit and go in order with DMB records over time, and you can almost quite literally see the author of these songs growing and evolving and changing. I guess if the question is present day, I think an awful lot of writing has to do with current events and the current state
Absolutely.
of the world, good or for bad. It's kind of a mixed bag. Sometimes things are optimistic, sometimes things are pessimistic, sometimes things are kind of looking back with nostalgia at what was. But I think it's an awful lot of present day. I think is an awful lot of current events.
Yeah. I was thinking that present day, that is kind of the obvious answer. But if we've noticed what we've experienced, I think it's when he plays with other people.
Hmm.
Like when he plays Soulshine or at the Gorge, when they have like different people coming on, it's just, he sounds different. He seems inspired. He seems excited to be playing. And so I think that bring more guests.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I think the last album, so anything we have that's recorded that came from them was was a pandemic album. So that was clearly
Mhm.
an inspiration. But I do think that you're hit the nail on the head with current events, Sean. I think that mainly it's a lot of political driven. Also a lot of, love for his wife and his family and his children and love in general and, seizing the day, you know?
Yeah, I think it's piggybacking on what both Jeanette and Sean said with where Dave is at currently in his headspace. I think, if you think back to like how much we've all grown up with Dave, like you go back to 23 and So Tired, and then you fast forward to like Dad Dave,
Mhm.
with like a song like Sweet or Come Tomorrow, like we rib on it, but like that's like the epitome of
Right.
like Dad Dave being like
Sure.
really being present in the moment as a father and everything like that. And then I think we see like a huge change moving over to Walk Around the Moon, where it's like
Absolutely.
he's back as like an independent like citizen of the world, and like now he's reacting to everything that's going on. And now even further, we get a song like Peace on Earth as like the
Mhm.
the song that like overtook this year, and like he has clearly put his activist hat back on and is out there. So I wouldn't be surprised, if and when we get another album coming out, that it's like just a full on like political barrage of
Bring it.
songs like this. Like I think that's really where he is at right now and continues to be at. And I think we'd all welcome that. I think it'd be really it would be
Yeah.
Really
great.
inspiring, yeah.
And I would look forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're all right. I took the question a little different. Like, what drives him? I think, like, being driven. I think some of the subjects that we can see is weighing heavy on Dave. Like, I don't know if that could drive him or depress him, but I guess like that could be. He wrote a song, "Peace on Earth." That's great, but like, he's a little bit in a headspace where it's been pretty heavy. His talks, he's been lecturing at every single event. I wonder if that
Yeah.
drives him, or if it's just like it could be very defeating when you're in that headspace a lot. I know, as someone that's an activist, that is one, like you could get
Absolutely.
very shut down,
But
so
that's interesting point, Trisha, because I feel like, Trump's first election, when Trump won the first time, I do think that I felt not silence from Dave, but I didn't feel as
Mhm.
he is now. And I think that I think that it is driving him now. I think that he kind of did that. Like he was like, I'm tired. I've done enough. It clearly isn't working. Like he kind of kept quiet, and then all of a sudden here he is again. Like he's driven again. So I think you're probably, both things are probably right.
Well, maybe he's
it's
driven, but
heavy,
who
and
knows
then
if
it's
he's
not.
happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
Well,
makes him
yeah, exactly.
happy is recording with being with other people on stage. I think that's the way I took it. Like what's driving him, I think
Sure. Yeah.
that gets him excited and maybe happy.
And we got an awful lot of that in August, right? Like
Yeah.
we saw that on display over and over again, whether it was the Dave solo shows that were out in Big Sky, that yes, they were Dave solo shows, but both nights ended up kind of having a full band feel to them later on in both nights. And then, of course, what we all took in various forms at the Gorge, right? Like every single night was a different assortment of various acts joining DMB on stage. So there was an awful lot of that you're talking about, Trisha, in the month of August.
Yeah. I mean, look how he was with Jake.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That might drive him, actually.
All
Okay.
right. Go ahead. Sorry, Trisha.
I'll just ask the question that I got, which is for us, actually, of what keeps you excited to keep making episodes on the pod that Jane likes.
Oh, I can start. What is really great about the four of us is I think that we share this thing in common, which is even before the podcast, we were always just thinking about DMB nonstop in our heads, spinning around, like essentially thinking all of these episodes before this even happened. So much so that when we were put together in a group chat long ago, like
Trisha.
it was just a constant firing of like, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this?
Yeah.
What about this?
You would have thought there was 20 different people in those early days in
That's
those
right.
group chats, because it was nonstop text message dinging.
Nonstop. And I just think we continue to have these topics that we want to talk about. I mean, I know I love our album discussions, and we want to make it through all of the albums. We love all of the venue talk. We love sharing our experiences with you when we go to a new venue or a venue that is our home venue, and we want to tell you all about it. So yeah, I mean, that, like, for me, all of those things continue to drive me, and I think I can speak for all of us when I say that drives all of us, and we just want to keep going.
Yeah.
I just want to hang out with the three of you all the time. So
I mean, and I do too. And to your point, Matt, if there was no podcast, we would probably still just be talking about it. So actually, what makes me excited to put the work in, because this is work, right, is our listeners. Like our listeners, the number one thing people say is don't stop, keep going. And I think that is because other people, maybe they don't have people in their family or
they
friends.
Don't have a group chat. We're the group chat.
Yeah. We're the group chat. And so I think that's, that's meaningful. I don't take that lightly. I take, people are pretty serious about that. So that drives me.
That's a great answer.
Yeah. And I think that even before the four of us came together, we all had very different paths into this band and into the world that this band kind of operates within. And in some ways, those paths were very different, and in some ways, they were very similar. And I think one of the ways that they are so similar is it's kind of been the one thing that's really been consistent in all of our lives for at least 2+ decades for all of us, if not more. We have been, whether it was going to shows, whether it was following along things online, in message board communities, trading tapes, whatever it may be, we all kind of got into this band in different stages of our lives, but we've all basically been following them somewhere between 2 and 3 decades now. So it's something that just feels so natural to get together and to share thoughts and opinions and stories and theories and whatever it may be, that this format just kind of made a lot of sense. And what is this, episode 114? It's just an awful lot of fun to get together for an hour and chat about something that you're so passionate about.
Absolutely. All right, we got one more question. Matt, do you want to ask the question?
Yeah, this one's a tough one. Imagine DMB plays a farewell show. What is your ideal closer?
Ants marching.
I don't like this.
I feel like ants marching at the end of the final farewell just would make us all cry and feel all fuzzy. So I'm going with that.
I'm going with Line Our Graves.
Big surprise.
Oh, shocking.
I'm a little shocked, but I'm going with Line Our Graves. Full song, full everything, you know.
I mean, Sean, you want to go next?
I was going to say, I don't know how specific we can get here, but I would love if there was actually like an announced last show that we knew that this was happening. A double encore would be awesome. I think it obviously creates so much space for creativity. Ending the first encore with Watchtower makes so much sense to me because it's a song that has ended so many DMB encores over the course of time. Maybe it's not a DMB song, but it kind of is. And if you have a second encore, then you could close that second encore with something like Ants, like Trisha mentioned. I think that's a great example. So one encore wouldn't be enough for that final show. So I'm claiming that I want two. Close the first one with Watchtower, get a little bit more creative with that second one. Ants makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah.
Last
Matt,
stop.
you have one?
Full last stop.
Oh,
Then
yeah.
Full last stop, yes.
Again, shocking.
Yeah, you guys are real shockers there. Oh, that actually got me in my feels a little bit. The last
I would actually want like just the reprise to come back. Like they leave, everyone keeps clapping, they come back on and like they do it one more time. Like they do the reprise.
Oh my God. Tug at my heartstrings.
Yeah. I mean, a banger two-step would be great too, but you know.
Truth.
You know, Shake Me Like a Monkey would be kind of cool too.
Oh my God, can you imagine? Like
the disappointment that would just spread wide to this fan base.
Well, because you know who would be at that show, right? Like it would be all the diehards, right?
Yeah.
Matt, I got to say, it's weird if you're going with last stop that you chose a full last stop over, I don't know, a 5-minute truncated last stop.
Oh, sorry. I actually wanted the
immigrant song.
Yeah, immigrant song last stop.
Your face.
Oh my God.
All right. Well, that was fun, guys. Yeah. I enjoyed all your answers. I enjoyed those thought-provoking questions from our listeners. Thank you guys so much. If you like what you hear, please follow us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all the things. Just do a search for Pod That Jane Likes. You can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, as well as on YouTube. So subscribe, like, do all the things, talk to us on the internet, send us those comments, those DMs, and we'll see you all next time. Do you guys have any last thoughts?
Well, maybe we want to share what might be upcoming.
Oh, do we? Okay.
Maybe.
I think we should.
Might a love bomb be in the future?
Maybe.
Oh, listen to that hint.
I don't know, but I think about it every day. So.
Okay.
I did it too. Trisha.
You know, if I had it all, I don't know what the next episode would be. So
I don't want to wake up. I'm just over here lost in the dreams of my father.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right, well, I was a fool to think this episode was over because I guess it's not.
All right. I think we've done it.
This conversation feels so right, guys.
I think they got it.
I think we got it, my little angels.
I mean, the space between this episode and the last episode we did was too long.
Yeah.
So that's so right.
I think that's the moral of this.
All right.
Unbelievable.
That was really good, guys.
That was really
I
good.
think that we have given enough hints. So stay tuned next episode. And you may hear the next episode of a certain series that the Pod That
You
Jane
might.
Likes has, been ongoingly recording. So we'll see you guys then. Bye everybody.
Bye.
Yeah.